In a video called Turning Toward, I talked about a book called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. The concept of turning toward was one of those principles. And another principle that, just like turning toward, I think applies to relationships of all kind, whether they're romantic, platonic, familiar, whatever, is to let your partner influence you. Just let the person that you're trying to have a strong relationship with influence you. Is very, very important. And very, very hard if you're not making a conscious effort at it. Because, I mean, I'll just speak on behalf of myself. I think that the way that I'm living my life at any given time is the way that I should be doing things. My habits and my mindset just feel so natural, and to go against them is possible, but, it feels uncomfortable. And I don't want to venture too far outside of my natural state. And so it makes it complicated when another person comes into the picture that has their own background, their own set of beliefs, their own influences, their own goals. And we're trying to exist in the same place for prolonged periods of time, maybe for potentially a lifetime. It's very hard to give up yourself. It's very hard to give up yourself or to modify yourself or, just to change anything about you if it wasn't your idea. Like if something doesn't come from within for me, it at least requires some consideration and often some turmoil. Like, oh, am I going to have to change? Oh, that's freaky. It's very freaky. The idea of changing, is so scary for some reason. I think it's also the idea of somebody else being in control of those changes for me. I have a real problem with people telling me that I can't do something or that I need to do something. So it requires a level of sensitivity on the other person's part. But it really is beautiful when you let people influence you. When you let there be some effect on you. When you change, it feels good to change. It's hard and harrowing, but especially, I can tell you a bunch of people in my life that have influenced me in a positive direction that I wouldn't ask for anything else. Yeah, let people influence you. And it's also important. It's important for me with anybody who's close to me, for me to feel like, I'm having some effect on them. Like they have let their guard down and are not completely shutting out any sort of influence that I could have on them. It means a great deal to me. It's obviously, I don't expect it from anybody, but when it does happen, it's amazing. It's more than influence also, it's just inspire. I don't hang around with people for prolonged periods of time if they're not inspiring me in some way. And to feel like you're inspiring somebody else is probably the best feeling in the entire world. I think it's better than a feeling of somebody liking you. These days, I'm like, who even cares if people like me or they don't like me? They only like what they think of me, which could be accurate to some extent. But it's still just a projection that they have of me. But when I inspire people, that just feels cooler. Because it doesn't require people to totally know everything about me. Or to even necessarily love everything about me. There could still be issues with me that they have, or just things that they don't want to adopt. Like they don't need to accept somebody as a whole in order to be inspired and to want to take something forward. There are some people I can think of that I'm like, your way of living doesn't really do it for me, but man, your work ethic is just awesome. Or another person like, you got some ways in which you're kind of irresponsible, but like, man, your warmth is just second to none. I feel so validated in your presence, and I want to do that for other people. It's sort of like I talked about in a video called like Weird Inspirations. It's just like people that it's a little bit hard to explain why I like them, and it's usually just like one facet of them that just inspires me so much. It takes a lot of vulnerability and a letting down of your guard to let people influence you. It takes a lot of opening up. And sometimes, hey, you let them influence you in a way that you regret. And sometimes you get distrusting of people for that. I mean, we've all succumbed to peer pressure to do something that we know we should not be doing. You know, just really it pushes us out of the comfort zone, like that's a good thing, then pushes us into the danger zone of like, wait, this is too far away from who I'm supposed to be, you know, from my natural state. It requires a level of openness and patience. Understanding that neither you nor your partner, friend, family can change dramatically overnight, but you can always make a little bit of an effort to just change a little bit.